There is a teaching preserved in the circles of Kabbalistic study about the vessels you use to drink water, and how the shape, material, and intention with which you drink may be diluting the shefa even before it reaches you. For a moment. Take the cup you use every day, the one you use in the morning, in a hurry before work, the one that sits on your desk while you work, the one you take to bed at night. Have you ever thought of this object as something beyond a utensil, as a channel? As something that, by its shape, material, and the intention with which it is used, is communicating something to the universe about how you receive? Kabbalah has a deep understanding of vessels. Not just metaphorically, although the metaphor is powerful, but concretely. About how the kli, K-H-A-L-I-I, the vessel, determines what can be received and retained. And about how the wrong vessels not only fail to hold the shefa, they actively disperse it. Water in the Jewish tradition is not just H2O. It is mayim, the substance most associated with shefa, the divine flow, the life that descends from above to below. And what you use to receive this water says something profound about how you are positioned to receive everything else. Stay until the end, because beyond the 3 problematic containers, I will give you the complete protocol, what to use, how to consecrate, and how to transform the simplest act of the day into a practice of alignment with abundance. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. And tell me in the comments, have you ever paid attention to the cup you use every day? Is it disposable? Is it plastic? Is it glass? Is it special? Or is it the first one you grab? I want to understand what our community carries in hand when drinking. Let me share a story that came to me as a family parable. Imagine a wise woman in a Jewish community in North Africa, a few generations ago, known in the neighborhood not for wealth, but for a specific quality of presence. Everything she touched seemed to gain more value. Her small businesses supported the family with a consistency that her wealthier neighbors could not replicate. A young bride went to her before the wedding to ask for advice on how to build a prosperous home. The wise woman looked at her for a long moment. Then she went to the kitchen and returned with 2 cups. One was a thin, slightly crooked plastic cup, the kind that is saved for reuse. The other was a simple, clean glass cup, with a regular shape and intact edges. She filled both with water from the same pitcher. She placed both in front of the young woman and said, "The water is the same. The source is the same. But what each container communicates about how you receive, that is completely different. The shefa is like this water. It seeks containers that declare, I am ready to receive. I am whole. I am clean. I am not improvising." The young woman understood, and he took this teaching to the home he built. Today you will understand 3 things. First, the concept of kli in Kabbalah, why the vessel is not passive but active in determining what can be received and retained. Second, the 3 types of vessels for water that tradition identifies as problematic for the energetic field of prosperity, and the precise logic behind each one. Third, the complete protocol, what to use, how to prepare, how to consecrate, and how to transform the act of drinking into a daily practice of alignment with the shefa. But first, the foundation. Because the concept of kli is one of the most fundamental and least taught in the entire Kabbalistic tradition. In Kabbalah, there is a fundamental law about how the shefa moves. It does not flow into the void. It flows into prepared vessels. The concept is kli, K-H-A-L-I, which means vessel, utensil, instrument. But in Kabbalistic language, kli is much more than a physical object. It is any structure, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, capable of receiving and retaining. Ari, Rabbi Isaac Luria, taught that before creation the Creator needed to create kelium, plural of kli, vessels capable of containing divine light, and that when the vessels were not suitable for the light they received, they broke, in a cosmological event that the Kabbalists call Shbirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels. The implication for human life is direct. The shefa is not lacking. The Creator is not stingy. The light always flows. What determines how much we receive is the quality of our kelim, our vessels, and the physical vessels we use in our daily lives, especially to receive the substance most associated with shefa, water, reflect and reinforce the quality of our internal vessels. There is another fundamental concept here: kavod, kabvod, honor, weight, presence. The Jewish tradition has a deep sensitivity about treating things with kavod proportional to their spiritual value. And mayim, water, has a very high spiritual value in tradition. The Zohar associates water with chesed, mercy and expansion, with shefa that descends freely. To the Torah, which is compared to water because, like water, it always flows downward, to the humblest. And because, like water, it is essential to life in a way that nothing else is. Treating water with kavod, receiving it in containers that declare value, intention, preparation, is an act of alignment with everything it represents spiritually. And the opposite, receiving water in containers that communicate disregard, improvisation, temporariness, is an unconscious statement about how you are positioned to receive shefa in all its forms. Now the three problematic containers. Problematic container 1, the reused disposable cup. You know this cup. Everyone has one in the kitchen. The plastic cup that came with a medication. The party cup that is still good. The disposable that was washed and stored because it can be used one more time. The problem is not the economy. The problem is what this object communicates. In the language of the kelim, a reused disposable container is a container that does not know what it is. It is not temporary, because it was stored. It is not permanent, because it was made to be thrown away. It exists in a state of suspended identity, of unresolved purpose. And when you drink from this cup every day, especially in the morning, when the neshama has just returned to the body and is especially receptive, you are declaring, at the most subtle level, that improvisation is enough, that temporary is adequate, that you do not deserve what was made to last. Shevirat hakelim at the domestic level, containers that do not know what they are, that were not made to retain, that communicate disposability. The shefa that arrives in this structure finds nowhere to land. Problematic container 2, the glass with physical damage, chip, crack, or irregular edge. Halacha, halakha, Jewish law, has a specific sensitivity regarding damaged objects in sacred contexts. A glass with a chip cannot be used in certain ritual contexts precisely because its physical integrity is compromised. But the principle goes beyond formal ritual. A cracked or chipped glass is a kli that has been broken and not replaced. It is shevirat hakelim on a literal level, a broken container still in use. What does this object communicate energetically? That you accept what is broken as sufficient, that you did not perform the tikkun, the correction, when it was necessary, that you continue to use what should have been renewed. In a context of prosperity, this is particularly significant, because one of the most common patterns of blocking shefa is exactly this: accepting what is broken as if it were whole. Continue using systems, relationships, approaches, habits that have already shown cracks, without making the correction. The cracked cup in the cupboard is the physical symbol of this pattern. Replacing it, a small, concrete, immediate gesture, is an act of tikkun. It is you declaring, I do not accept the broken as sufficient. I renew what needs to be renewed. Problematic container. 3. The opaque, thick plastic cup with no defined shape. This is the most subtle of the three, and therefore the most important to understand. It is not disposable. It is not broken. It is functional, durable, practical. But it is opaque, without an elegant shape, without aesthetic presence, without a quality that invites attention. The problem here is the absence of kavod. It is an object that communicates. The water that enters here has no special value. The act of drinking does not deserve attention. This is just function, not experience. In tradition, the concept of hidur mitzvah, hidvyar mitzvah, beautifying the sacred act, teaches that the way we do things matters. Not only what we do, but how. A kiddush recited over a beautiful cup is spiritually different from a kiddush over a cup that does not invite reverence. This is not elitism. It is not about price. It is about intention expressed in form. A simple and clean glass can have more kavod than an expensive cup used without awareness. The opaque and formless cup declares, "What goes in here does not need attention." And when you declare this about water, about the mayim that is chesed in liquid form, you are declaring the same about the shefa that should be coming to you. Now what tradition favors? And I will be concrete, because concreteness is what transforms teaching into practice. The ideal vessel for water in everyday life, from a Kabbalistic perspective, has three qualities. Integrity, it is whole, undamaged, uncracked, without improvisation. It declares that you use what was made to last. Transparency or clarity of form. Clear glass is ideal. You see what you receive. The water is visible, present, real. There is no concealment between you and the shefa that is coming. Weight and presence. It doesn't need to be heavy in the physical sense, but it needs to have presence. It needs to be an object that when you hold it, you really hold it. That invites attention. That declares that the act of drinking deserves awareness. A clear glass, whole, of regular shape, simple and inexpensive, meets these three conditions. It doesn't need to be crystal. It doesn't need to be imported. It needs to be intentional. Now the complete protocol in 4 steps. Step 1. The inventory of containers. Today, open the cabinet where your glasses are kept. Take everything out. Place it on the counter. Categorize honestly. Whole and of adequate quality. Damaged or chipped. Reused, disposable. Opaque and without presence. Separate those from the second, third, and fourth categories. Do not put them back. Those leave your kitchen. This may seem like waste, but in tradition there is the principle that holding on to what is broken prevents what is whole from entering. You cannot fill a kli that is already full, even if what fills it is what should have come out. Step 2. The choice of the main kli. Choose a cup, just one for now, to be your main water container, the one you will use every morning, the one that will stay on your work desk, the one that will be the physical channel through which you receive mayim every day. Apply the 3 criteria: integrity, transparency, or clarity, presence. If you don't have any suitable ones at home, buy one. A simple glass cup costs little. But the decision to buy, to invest even minimally in a suitable kli to receive what has value, that decision carries real spiritual weight. Step 3. The consecration of the kli. Before using the chosen cup for the first time, consecrate it. Wash it with water and a pinch of salt, melach, the purifier. While washing, say, "May this vessel be cleansed of all previous influence. May it become a pure channel to receive." Then hold the cup full of water in both hands, cupped as if receiving. Close your eyes for a moment and say, "Mayim Shayim, Mayim Hayim, living water. May what enters this vessel come with shefa. May what I receive through this channel strengthen my ability to receive in all dimensions of my life. May this kli be a symbol and instrument of my willingness to receive what the Creator has already set aside for me." Drink the first water from this cup with attention, slowly, consciously, feeling the water going down. This act of mindfulness is kavanah, intention, applied to the most basic of acts. Step 4. The morning ritual of mayim. From today in the morning, before coffee, before the cell phone, before anything else, the first act is to fill your main kli with fresh water and drink with attention, not standing at the sink, sitting if possible, with the cup held in both hands for a moment before drinking. And while drinking, a silent intention. I open my channel. I am ready to receive the shefa of this day. 30 seconds. Every day. For 40 days. At the end of 40 days, observe. Not what has changed in the external world, but what has changed in the quality of your morning attention. in the way you start the day, in the presence you bring to the first acts before the world makes its demands. This quality of presence is the soil where the shefa germinates. There is an additional concept I want to leave you with before concluding. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha. Ashrei ivoshbe beiteka. Blessed are those who dwell in your house. This verse from the Psalms speaks of dwelling, not just passing through, of being present in the space, in the objects, in the everyday acts. Most people do not dwell in their own acts. They pass through them. They drink water without drinking. They eat without eating. They go through the day without crossing through. The protocol of the Kli is not about the cup. It is about dwelling. It's about bringing presence to what you do. And when you start to inhabit the smallest of acts, drinking water in the morning, something opens up. The muscle of presence develops. And presence applied to the big decisions in life, financial, relational, professional, changes everything. A pattern that often appears among people who start to work with intention in the simplest acts of everyday life. The most immediate change is in the feeling of agency. That choices matter. That even a glass has meaning if you decide it does. And when you start to feel that your choices matter, even the small ones, you begin to make larger choices with more care, more intention, more kavana. It's the same muscle, exercised in the small, strengthened for the big. Tell me in the comments, after this video, will you look at your glasses differently? Which of the 3 problematic containers did you recognize in your kitchen right now? These concrete accounts of real people applying real teachings are what this community needs to grow with integrity and depth. There is no water except Torah. There is no water except Shefa. This association between water, teaching, and abundance runs through the entire Jewish tradition like a golden thread. Water is not just a physical element. It is a living symbol of what descends from above to sustain the below, of what cannot be created, only received. May the vessel you prepare to receive water be the vessel you prepare to receive everything. May the integrity, transparency, and presence you bring to the smallest of containers reflect the integrity, transparency, and presence you bring to your entire life. May Mayim Chaim, living water, flow through you and around you. May the Shefa that the Creator has already set aside for you find in you a vessel that is prepared, whole, clean, and ready to receive. Peace and blessing upon you, your home, and all the vessels, physical and spiritual, that you are preparing to receive. In the next video, and this time it's a promise fulfilled, the complete teaching of the Baal Shem Tov on joy and prosperity. Why the founder of Chassidism taught that joy is not the result of abundance, it is the condition for it, and the specific protocol he left to transform states of anxiety and financial sadness into real and immediate openness to the abundance. A teaching that will completely reorganize your understanding of the relationship between emotion and manifestation. Don't miss it. Share this video with someone you know who deserves more attention to what they receive, because sometimes the greatest change begins with the smallest of gestures. Until our next meeting.